All right, copy these notes into your notebooks. Here we go. This is worksheet 4. These are the notes for worksheet 4. Worksheet number 4. The trigonometric ratios or the trigonometric functions, right? Trig, we'll abbreviate trig ratios. Right, remember they're also known as trig functions. Trigonometric functions. Okay, and then we've seen these first three. The first three are what? Sine, right? We use SOHCAHTOA. Sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay, well, there's 3 new ones. There's actually obviously 6 in total. Now there's 3 new ones. And these 3 new ones these 3 new trig functions or these trig ratios are cosecant, cosecant, secant, and cotangent. All right, so we know the abbreviation for sine is the first 3 letters here, right? So this is sine, right? Its abbreviation is sine. This one, the first 3 letters is cosine, right? For short, cosine. And this one, the first 3 letters is tangent, right? And we have those in our calculator, right? Sine, this is not sin, sine, cosine, tangent. You're not going to find these new 3 here. You won't find them on the calculator. All right? There's only buttons for sine, cosine, and tangent. But we're going to learn these 3. Now, what is the abbreviations, right? This is the abbreviations for sine, cosine, tangent. We're also going to use 3 letters here for cosecant, secant, and cotangent. We cannot use COS for cosecant, right? Because we're already using COS for cosine, right? So since we can't use COS, they use CSC. That's cosecant. That's the abbreviation, cosecant. Cosecant. CSC, cosecant. COS is cosine. Don't mix these up. The other ones you won't mix up because they don't match. The first 3 letters don't match. This one would be what? SEC would be for secant, right? For short, so we don't have to write the whole word all the time, but know what it is. Cosecant, secant, and obviously this one is COT. We don't have a COT, so that's going to be the abbreviation for cotangent. Cotangent. Okay. Here's the easy part, right? I know these are 3 new ones. You should hopefully now be familiar with sine, cosine, and tangent. Here's the relationship between these first 3 and these new 3. And once you understand this, the rest is going to be so easy. The math part's going to be so easy. All right. So we'll start with the 3 that we know. So obviously there's 6. There's 6 in total, right? 3 plus 3. So I got the 6 trigonometric functions. 6, right? There's 6 total because these 3 and then okay. So always, no matter what, you always work in sine, cosine, and tangent. You always work in sine, right? This is so, this is ka, and this is toa. You always work and find these first. You have to. You can't. It's going to be tough because, again, these are new for you. It's going to be tough to just get these answers right away. But just go with me, right? So sine is what, or so stands for sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, right? Cosine stands for, ka, which is the C, right? The first one's the cosine part. Adjacent over hypotenuse. I should use lowercase, but there it is. And then tangent. Okay, so you already know these. TOA, OA. All right. The only thing, well, not the only thing, but the most important thing that you're going to have to just understand for this material is how to pair them up. See these three? They actually pair up with these three, but you have to know how, and here's the important part. Okay. I always start with tangent. This third one here. Tangent, and if you see this one is cotangent, tangent, cotangent. Tangent pairs up with cotangent. Okay? And then now I'm left with sine and cosine, and then I'm left with secant and cosecant, or cosecant and secant. Here's how I remember. Okay, so this is the main thing. Remember how to do this. Now you already know sine, cosine, and tangent are your original three. Sine doesn't go with cosine. I know they sound the same, but no. Sine, cosine, tangent, get those three first. Now, here's how you remember. I just look at the first letter. This one starts with an S, this one starts with a C. And notice that the last two that you have also start with an S and with a C. Yeah? So just remember this. They cannot both start with the same letter. So the sine starts with an S, cannot go with secant. Again, remember, we already used cotangent, ignore cotangent. We're trying to pair up these two with these two here. See, the sine cannot go with secant because they start with the same letter. So sine pairs up with cosecant. This is how you pair them up. This is the critical part here. And then obviously cosine, which starts with a C. Well, see, cosine can't go with this one, starts with a C. We already used this one. It also starts with a C. Cosine has to go with what? Pairs up with secant. All right, so just remember that. Tangent, cotangent, kind of, they have both the word tangent in them. Okay, you start with that one first. And then when you're looking at sine and cosine, remember sine cannot pair up with, this one starts with an S, cannot start with an S, has to start with the other letter. Same thing here. Cosine starts with a C. Cosine cannot start with a C. Cosine cannot be paired up with the other function that starts with a C. So it has to be with a secant. Okay. And what's the point of pairing these up? Well, if you know and if you have the answers, the ratios, right, these fractions, if you already have these three, you actually already know the answers for these three. You're not going to have to find, you're not going to use another SOHCAHTOA, something like that. No. That's just for the first three. If I know the answer for sine, which is O over H, you actually already know the one for the one that pairs up with it, which is cosecant. Because these are called reciprocal identities. So what that means is that, remember, for a fraction, the reciprocal is you just, the fraction is a reciprocal. You just interchange the numerator and the denominator. That's why they're called reciprocal. These are reciprocal identities, and I'll write that in a bit. So if sine is 3 over 5, then this one's going to be what? 5 over 3. That's how easy it is. That's what you're going to see in the lesson here. But I just want to make sure that you know how to pair these up correctly. If cosine is A over H, Then secant is what? The one that pairs up with it is secant. Secant would have to be h over a. And that is it. You have to know these first. And then you'll be able to easily get these other ones, right? Okay, cotangent is what? Oh, sorry. Tangent is O over A. So then this would be what? A over O. So remember, these are called what? I mean, back and forth too. If I know cotangent, if I know cotangent is 2 over 7, then I can go and I can rationalize that this one is what? 7 over 2, right? But either way you look at it, you can go back and forth. Again, these are reciprocal, right? That's what happens with these ratios. Reciprocal identities. All right, so very important is just for this first introduction video is just knowing you already know these three, introducing the new three, which is secant, cosecant, and cotangent, right? These new three. The three new ones. Cosecant, secant, and cotangent. And then knowing how to pair them up. After that, in the next video, you're going to see how you do the work and how you actually find these first. And once you know these three, you got these three right away. Okay, let's go to the next video.